Hi everyone, I'm Hoofstock. I made this short video to tell you about a new hoof care program Liberated Horsemanship will launch next year. It's a program designed to help zoos care for their hoofed animals. Now you might be wondering why we think a company that historically has taught only equine hoof care has something meaningful to say about zoo animals. Well, first, we've had amazingly positive feedback from zoo professionals who attended our Gateway Clinic, our equine hoof care clinic. They've told us that much of the information in that clinic applies to hoofed zoo animals as well as to horses, and they said the zoo community should hear it. That's straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak, not LH. You know, hoof care started with the horse's hoof. People have been trying to maintain and improve the health and integrity of the hooves of horses for hundreds, if not thousands, of years. A lot was learned over all those years. Most of it was about how to prepare and apply shoes or some other device. Information that isn't in any way relevant to the barefoot animals in zoos. But information that is relevant has exploded over the last couple of decades with the emergence of natural hoof care. And common sense tells us it applies to most, if not all, hoofed animals kept in captivity, not just horses. I believe what we have learned about natural hoof care can guide our efforts to develop and maintain strong, healthy, barefoot hooves in zoos as well as in stables. Now I know that the phrase natural hoof care gets thrown around pretty loosely, but we're very specific about what it means. It's a method of management that encourages the hoof to grow toward its aboriginal form, the strong, healthy, anatomically correct form that develops when wear and growth balance naturally and without human intervention. There are two major elements to natural hoof care. The natural trim is one. Purpose of the natural trim is pretty straightforward. Animals in captivity don't move as they normally do under aboriginal conditions they were designed for. Consequently, growth often outruns wear. The natural trim is a substitute. It simulates the wear the hoof would be getting if the animal was living under aboriginal conditions. It establishes medial, lateral, and anterior posterior balance and the proper alignment of external and internal foot structures. Now, I'm not talking about carving the hoof up into some preconceived shape. That's not it. It's about applying certain rational principles when trimming and knowing how to do it no matter what the shape of the hoof might be. When done correctly, the hoof will then grow toward the optimal, healthy form that develops when the animal is living as it was designed to live, under aboriginal conditions that provide sufficient wear to offset growth and maintain a strong, healthy form with internal and external structures properly aligned. The natural trim will help hooves that are pathological due to the lack of trimming or improper trimming, but it's important to understand that it's not a magic bullet. A natural trim will produce strong, healthy hooves. No question about it, assuming management practices and the animal's environment and welfare are reasonable. If they aren't, nothing that is done to the hoof itself is going to fix the problem. And that brings us to the second major element of natural hoof care. Management practices and the animal's welfare. The impact of these factors is at least as important as the trim. Poor management
or compromised physical or psychological health can undermine the efforts of even the most skilled trimmer.
There are also the factors that are most relevant to hoof care for zoo animals. Why? Because zoo animals can't be kept on the regular trimming cycle that we can keep horses on. It's just not practical. In fact, it's probably not possible. That means it's imperative to get management practices as optimal for hoof health as possible. Consequently, our initial zoo clinic will focus heavily on those factors. Participants will also get in-depth information about the theory behind the natural trim and a practical introduction to trimming. Later, a more extensive hands-on trimming practicum will be available for those who want to continue on and become truly competent trimmers. The information in the zoo clinic is not superficial. It's in-depth practical and theoretical information that is designed for zoo professionals. We anticipate holding the first clinic in June of 2021 at the ATI campus of Ohio State University. Same place we do our Gateway Clinic. I hope it's an opportunity for me to meet you in person.